Hello and welcome everyone on my channel, the Garden City Project. My name is Greg Holenstein and I'm a landscape architect. In this episode, I want to give you a closer look at ancient Rome, and we will also have a look what we can learn from them. One of the main reasons why I want to take a closer look at ancient Rome is because I have a fascination for ancient Rome and their unique construction ability at that ancient time. And so I want to share this fascination with you. I want to share the fascination for ancient Rome and all the things that they were building at this time. Because I see ancient Rome as a very important topic, I want to divide this topic into two episodes. On the first episode, which is this video, I want to show you an overlook about the new materials they were using and the infrastructure building they were building. The second episode about the Roman Empire will be about the monumental buildings. It will be about the parks and gardens. In this episode, I will also give you a short overview about the historian part of ancient Rome, but I will not dive too deep into history. Now I'm gonna give you a short overview of the history of Rome. From our modern perspective, the history of Rome started around in the 8th century BC. At this time they founded a settlement at the river of Tiber in the center of the Italian peninsula, and from time to time it was growing bigger and bigger through a military conquest and through trading, and so Rome as a city became more and more influential. When Rome became an empire around 50 years BC, Rome became the biggest empire in the ancient world, with a population of around 50 to 90 million people and with an area of around 5 million square kilometers. The Romans as an empire had a massive influence on our modern world and especially on Europe. Their language, Latin, is still in use today, and it was the basic for many Latin languages such as French, Spanish, Italian, and even more. And furthermore, it had also influence on Germanic languages such as German and English. The alphabet we use today in the Western world is called the Latin alphabet, and of course it was invented by the Romans, but they copied their alphabet from the Greeks because the Greek had a similar alphabet, and they reworked it and used it for their own language. Probably the largest influence of ancient Rome on our modern world was their political and legal system, because it's still in use today, and their political system was used for foundation of big democratic countries we have today, like the United States of America. They copied a lot of things for their foundation from ancient Rome, so like the Senate, for example. In my work, I want to take a focus on the architecture and urban planning of the Roman Empire and what we can learn from them and what we can use for the development of our future cities. Now we are going to have a look at the materials they used in ancient Rome to build and construct their buildings. And there is one special material they had, and that was cement. And this is nothing special from our modern perspective, because we know cement is used for concrete in the today's world. But at this time, the Romans also had cement, and they made it even better. They reworked it, and they used volcanic ashes instead of sand to build their buildings. And at this time it was a big innovation, and so their cement at this time is considered to be even better as the cement we have today, because some of their buildings lasted for centuries, and it's said it's because of the cement they used at this time. Of course, cement was not the only material they used at that time for the construction. They used different kind of stones, and especially marble. And marble was specially used for decorative buildings, as it was a sign for prosperity and wealth. Now we are taking a look about the infrastructure in the Roman Empire. And first we're gonna have a look at the aqueducts. And these were really special buildings because at the dimension and the size of them were really outstanding for the ancient time. And they were used to transport water on long distances to provide cities with water. For example, the 11 different aqueducts were providing 1,000 cubic meters of water each day for Rome. Those aqueducts had a length of around 10 to up to 100 kilometers. So they were very long for this time, for this area. And the most of the water they were transporting into a city was for public use, especially for baths, because at this time even the people from the lower class could afford to have a bath in the bathhouses, and that is very unusual for that time. And when we look at those big aqueducts, we see that they really had to invest in long term, because it needed a lot of effort to build such big aqueducts at this time. Now we are taking a look at the road constructions in the Roman Empire. The Romans were famous for building high quality and long durable roads. Roman roads were constructed to be immune to floods and other environmental hazards. They built their roads out of different layers from different materials. And some roads were made out of up to 5 different layers. Some of those layers that the Romans were building their roads were bound together with cement or with clay. And these layers were for the foundation of the roads. And on the top they were using, for the most time, cobblestones or like polygonal slabs from different stones on the region on which they were available. And these roads were built so stable. Some of the roads that the Romans built are still in use today. Now we come to the conclusion. And as we look at those massive infrastructure projects that the ancient Romans were building, we have to consider that they were thinking in long terms. They were not thinking in decades, they were thinking in centuries or even in millennials, so to say. But we have also to be honestly, because I think a lot of these infrastructure buildings that the Romans were building at the ancient time, they were from time to time reworked and renovated over the hundreds of years of existence. However, I think the Romans as a civilization, they really stand out because they were one of the few civilizations that were able to build such buildings that were lasting for centuries and that made them really special. And we, as modern people living today, we can learn a lot from these ancient Romans. The main thing we can learn from ancient Romans considering infrastructure is that we have to think in long terms if we build infrastructure, because infrastructure is necessary for every civilization, because it's the lifeline of every civilization, be it roads or streets or electricity we have today. All of this needs infrastructure, and when we build infrastructure we have to think in long terms, not in for the next few years. We have to think in at least in decades, not in centuries. That's probably not possible today in our fast-growing world. But when we look at the Romans, we can clearly learn from them that we should plan and learn that we use infrastructure on a long term. We should keep the time horizon open when we invest in new infrastructure. And we should invest to build them as long-term as possible, as long-lasting as possible. That should be the priority when building new infrastructure. So this is the end of the first episode about the Roman Empire, and hopefully the second episode will be ready next week, so you can watch them next week. I hope you could enjoy my video. I hope you learned something. If you liked it, just press the like button, leave a comment here and subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.